Okay. Good evening, YouTube. It is I, Bruce Wayne, tuning in from Gotham once more. Going to run another villains game using the Cypher system. Excellent game system. No one's played it, used it. Highly recommend you do both. You can find me on YouTube at Gaming in Gotham. You can also check out my WordPress, where I make custom stuff for games at gamingingotham.wordpress.com. I have with me two other gentlemen. One you may recognize as the Dastardly Constrictor, returning once more to wreak some havoc. I will let them introduce themselves, plug whatever they want to plug. I'll start with immediately to my left is Philip Posey.
Hi, my name is Philip Posey. I run the channel Maps and Dragons, and today I'll be playing a character codenamed Vigil. He has X-ray vision, and he has super speed, so watch out. It's going to be going by in a flash.
All right.
And Dennis, if you're there, I'll throw it to you.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm Dennis. I'm playing Constrictor. He's a mutant who constantly evolves and grows to towering heights. And he generally doesn't get well along with others, especially if they're normals.
All right. So, as some of you may recall, since the last time, Constrictor and two other, would-be supervillains that he teamed up with, had a little bit of a team with. They're kind of, familiar with each other. They went out, looking to get the attention of Cerberus, who is the resident supervillain organization, who is looking to expand their ranks, grow their business a little bit. So they pretty much asked that everybody who wants a shot has to go out and make a splash, get recognized. So they went and they broke into a bank, stole some sensitive information, all the accounts and records of everybody who worked at or deposits at the bank. So they pretty much have a fair bit of funding, blackmail material, whatever, at their fingertips. Didn't really make a clean getaway. The police showed up, which unfortunately for the officers resulted in almost all of their deaths. And then Constrictor went out on a little mission of his own and messed up one of the officers' wives. And what messed up, I mean, he just murdered her and abducted his child to what ends nobody knows. And it's been about, since that happened, it's been about 2 weeks in game. Currently, for all intents and purposes, the other members who are with Constrictor are off, doing their own thing, trying to commit some villainous deeds. So we'll start off. It's probably about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. City is as it normally would be for a city, hustle and bustle of the city life, traffic coming and going, people working, subway train just hammering along. And as the camera, is looking down at the city from the top, you see all this activity. It slowly starts to zoom in until it's coming up on top of a manhole, and then just kind of passes through the manhole and starts to zip around through these sewers until it comes upon, after much weaving through this dark underworld that lies directly beneath the city, upon a large serpentine-like mutant, which would be Constrictor. Now, what is Constrictor doing? What has he been doing since his abduction and in his otherwise downtime?
Well, about a week after the unwitnessed scene of constrictor slithering down in the sewer with his captive, a gruesome discovery was made in the nearby playground of a school, made even more surreal by the fact that the child's clothing was all neatly folded, shoes, socks, pants, all in a line. There was a large C traced in blood on the child's shirt, which tests later proved was his child's blood, and on the side of the school, and more of the blood, the amounts of which would lead to all intents and purposes the child probably is not alive any longer, was Vanguard, almost like spray paint, traced in bloody fingerprints on the side of the school. Now he is currently making his way through the sewer. He's had no contact for about a week from his companions, so he is headed to their abandoned building that is currently their headquarters to see if he can find any signs of them.
All right, excellent. So, that gruesome discovery definitely, led to a bit of an uproar. There's most certainly, going to be or would have been some news about it. It had been in the papers. School flat out canceled. Everybody's sent home for who knows how long, perhaps indefinitely, with everything that's going on. That's definitely putting the people, kind of making them uneasy. There'll be like candlelight vigil held for, the victims. It's just bad stuff. So as he makes his way back to the hideout, we go over to Vigil. So why don't you tell the people a little bit about Vigil, and perhaps why he's seeking out Cerberus and the group that raided the bank and took care of the one cop's wife and child.
You see a man sitting on a park bench. He holds open a newspaper. Right in front, bank heist still unsolved. Underneath it, missing kid, cop's kid found, his clothes, blood everywhere, unknown whereabouts. The paper folds over, you see a very neatly dressed man. Suit, tie, black, cufflinks, glasses. He sees a woman walking by. He tilts down his glasses. He sees her naked. Next to him is a briefcase. He opens it up. There's little dossiers and information about this bank heist. And he's rifling through his papers. And inside of it, it says Cerberus. It's like, puts his finger down on the dossier. I gotta move out from this petty crimes that I've been doing. I gotta get this big money like these boys have gotten. I gotta find them. Closes his dossier in his briefcase, and he walks off. He's you see him walking through town, and he's at the corner of an alley, and there's this old drunken man behind a dumpster. And he's looking down at the man, and as you zoom into the man's face, it's raggedy, and his eyes look like bruised fruit, and he's missing some teeth. And he looks up, and there's Vigil, staring down at him, fixing his tie. Are you gonna tell me where you saw these men go? No, man, I don't know anything. Are you gonna tell me? And you just see like this dime shaped like little boil start to form in his head, and his face starts to melt. I'll tell you! Next, you see Vigil, and he's walking down the street, and he sees a warehouse. And he has his little notepad, and he opens it up. This is the third place on my list. I hope this place works out. And he starts to walk up to the door. Well,
Okay. So, the yeah, the bum gives you some information, albeit slightly inaccurate. He's kind of drunk all the time, how bums do. So you wander up to this warehouse, and you say you have some X-ray vision. So if you were to scan around, look inside, you would see that it's abandoned. However, there is some signs of activity, from within. You see, you can kind of detect what looks like perhaps some hot food, on an upturned, like large spool as a makeshift table. The slight hum of some electricity still pumping to the warehouse, but as far as immediate life signs, you don't see any. So this warehouse is a couple blocks down from the actual place where the villain's Constrictor and his chums would hang out. So while you're scanning that, scoping it out, Constrictor, you emerge from your manhole in the alleyway, not too far down from your hideout. About an hour has passed, so it's 4 o'clock. The alley is again, typically dingy, nasty. It's got some nice, dark spots, some shade going on inside of it. So, you typically, you would feel pretty comfortable here. Like the back of your hand, and you prefer the feel of the shadows, not all the prying eyes of the norms checking you out. So when you come out of the manhole, what is your course of action?
Well, I would be fairly confident that, as usual, the alleyway would be empty, as I would have made it a point to take care of any wanderers or squatters in the area. So I would just kind of cast a glance around as I slithered through the shadows, heading towards the little place that we have set up.
All right, yeah, absolutely. It's vacant. It's in the rundown part of town as well. And while you guys aren't, huge, you're not villains, you're not Cerberus. Some of the residents are aware that you just don't go into this alley. Anybody who's ever gone in there, most of them just haven't come back. No one knows where the hell they're at. We can only assume, that they'll never return. And Constrictor, you may have a growing pile of skulls in your lair as testament to this. So you go into your hideout, and the door opens, creaks on rusted hinges. There's nobody there. Juggernaut had mentioned something about just having some business to take care of, and he's been gone for the past couple days. The other guy that was with you, I can't remember his name. The human, the computer guy. He said he needed to go get his hands on some better equipment to further analyze and make some use out of this information you guys got from the bank. Get you guys some funding. So, the room's dark. There's no lights on. Again, no signs of activity. And then as you're looking around, you hear from the alley outside the splash as, a foot, you assume, falls into a puddle, and the pattering of water onto the concrete ground. And then, another one as the foot moves through, and then the slight clapping of shoes. And it gets a little louder. You can hear that it's, directly outside the door and then passing by. You hear some kind of like mumbling and whimpering, coming in that direction as well from the individual outside.
Would move over to the door, pulling it open and looking out.
So as you open the door and peer outside, you see, from what you can make out, the back of a man. The long coat that he's wearing is shoddy, beat up, seen better days. The salt and pepper in his hair leads you to believe that he's perhaps, in his early to mid-40s. The rest of his clothing is likewise, just battered and torn. Likely homeless. It looks like he's got one arm kind of held up to his head, and he's just kind of whimpering like, oh, what the fuck, man? And you smell like what seems like burned flesh, perhaps hair, singed hair, wafting, in his wake.
Constrictor gives a slight hiss as his forked tongue slides out, tasting the air. He moves to the doorway, his human part showing first, and then the long, black, muscled snake legs, or tail, following after as he moves towards the man. What is this?
So, as
he starts to rise above the man.
Right. So as you move up behind him and, start to loom up to, an imposing 7.5 feet on your snake body. And the guy just kind of whirls, his coat whipping out behind him. And he's got, a long, unkept beard, hand over his head. And you can kind of see, like, between his fingers, like, red flesh. His eyes are bloodshot. He's like, what the hell are you? Oh my God, not again. And he turns to just take off and run, just terrified.
The moment that he turns and starts to run, it just triggers my instinct, and like that, I just charge after him, trying to coil him up.
All right, so he's not really, the most athletic, or going to put up any fight. So, you just almost instantaneously, like a striking cobra, lurch forward and wrap around him, swoop him up in your coils, kind of looking down at him, and his like lips like quivering, and his eyes are starting to well up a little bit. His hand's still on his head. And he's like, "What, man? What do you want? I swear to God, I didn't do nothing. I don't have no money. I don't know. What do you want?"
Your kind is not welcome here. What are you doing?
He's like, I'm just trying to get away from a normal beat, man. Some fucking crazy guy. And, like, he pulls his hand away, and like you can see, like, like kind of like bone and like seared flesh. Like some fucking lunatic just shot me in the forehead with like lasers or something out of his eyes, asking questions, and like I told him, some stuff where I seen some people he's asking about, I don't know, like bad villains or something, where these people were that did this bank heist were at. I don't know. I see some guys come and go out of this warehouse, so I told them that's where they're at. That's probably where they're at. He's like, that's it, man. That's what I'm doing here. If you want me to leave, I'll leave. Just let me go. Just let me go. And like he's terrified. You know, he just got like his forehead seared. You know, giant snake man's constricting him. He's borderline pissing himself.
Perhaps I would have considered letting you go, but it seems you talk too much. And with that, he'll begin constricting.
All right, so he begins to shout out. You know, this blood-curdling scream, and you know, within moments, it's slowly cut off. You know, as his chest begins to collapse and ribs crush in, piercing his lungs. And within moments, you know, you snap his spine, and his body just hangs lifeless like a rag doll in your coils. Now, Vigil, if you would be so kind, you know, you're about a block or so down from where this happens. So, if you would give me, say, a level 4 listen check to try and make out this scream. City blocks are big, brah, and there's activity going on. To try and, you know, make out this scream.
No problem. That's a 4.
So, all right, so you don't make it out. You can't, you know, hear this scream, but it definitely happened. Now you would be aware of the location, Constrictor, the information that he given you, the warehouse. I mean, this is, you know, like your normal beat. You know this neighborhood pretty well.
Okay, so first, still holding him in my coils, I would move over to the sewer entrance, lift up the manhole cover, and then move over and unwrap so that he just falls down into the sewer for later retrieval. Once I replace the manhole cover, then I will, you said it's about, what did you say, 4 or 6 o'clock?
Yeah, it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon right now.
Is there a way that I can get there through the sewers?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
you know those better than the city streets, and you know where to go. And there's definitely one that'll deposit you, you know, on the same block as this warehouse. At which point you could continue your journey through the alleys.
Then yeah, that's what I would do. Is I would head over there using the sewers to stay hidden.
Okay. So absolutely. So you make your way, you know, through the sewers over to that block. It doesn't take too long. You know, about 20 minutes or so to slink along, come out. So you end up in the back alleys. You can see the warehouse not too far off, you know, looming over the tops of some of the lower buildings. So we come back to Vigil. So you are standing outside of the warehouse, I presume, scanning with your X-ray, and you did notice that there was some signs of life inside the warehouse, but you didn't see any immediate bodies.
Oh, I would try to enter the warehouse.
Okay, you can walk in.
I open up the door. Creak! I step inside. What do I see?
So it's a large building, you know, all steel beams and, you know, scaffolding overhead. There's a bunch of broken pallets, dusty floor. There's some old barrels, labels long since, you know, scratched off or worn away. Looks to be, you know, a tow motor sitting off in the corner, and there's an old beat-up looking couch, you know, with the makeshift table. like a small, like 12-inch, box TV. The screen's just flickering, gray and black static. It looks like there's gonna be like a half-eaten hot dog on the table.
Oh, you said that there was a TV?
Yep.
Oh,
Got rabbit ears.
I walk over to the TV, my suitcase swinging to my side. I set it down as I come over to the TV. I mess with the bunny ears, trying to get into the channel. Open up my notepad.
Okay.
Looks like this place might be a bust. I put my hand over top of the hot dog. Does it feel warm or cold?
Seems like it's maybe a little bit warmer than room temperature.
Looks like someone's been here recently, but not for a while. I'll have to come back to this place and see if I can catch them.
Okay. So you go.
Was I able to get a channel on the television?
Yeah, like some like old like Space Ghost comes on.
All right, Space Ghost comes on, and on top of the dust on the television, I write in the "I'll be seeing you," and then I leave the warehouse.
Okay. So by this time, Constrictor, you're in the alley, in the warehouse, kind of lurking, scanning around, and you hear the squeaking hinges of the door and the sound of it close. And you see a pretty well-dressed individual carrying a briefcase begin to move across your view as he passes the alley.
Well, I've kind of sit in the shadows, coiled up, hidden as best I can as the figure comes out. Once the door closes behind the man, from the shadows I say, "I heard that you were looking for me."
Now, are you behind me or in front of me?
He'd be probably like to your side, as you're walking past the alley, and you hear this voice come out of the alley, clearly directed at you.
Okay. So, first you see my guy like a startled cat. And then he just picks off in a bolt of lightning. and then what happens? As you see him turn around. Who's there? Who's there? And I'm looking, but the shadows are so dark from the 4 o'clock sun that I can't see anyone.
All right, so absolutely, he takes off with uncanny speed, probably not natural, like just like a bolt of lightning.
Yeah, imagine
my suitcase comes undone as I'm running. You can just see fucking papers. They fly everywhere.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, as like before, at the first beginning of movement, he goes to strike, but the person is already gone, and Constrictor kind of blinks and furrows his brow, looking around as he quickly slithers back into the darkness of the alley.
And as you do, you see like this little piece of paper come down. And it lands down by your scales. And it says, Cerberus. And then it has like a delineated list of all the information he's gathered about trying to join. And then another piece of paper comes down. And it's a newspaper. And it's the bank robbery. And it has a little information about the missing kid. And you see like with red pen drawn. And you see an arrow to the kid and to the cops. I'm like, there has to be some kind of connection. Warehouse.
So, Constrictor lowers himself to retrieve the paper, first looking over the list and then the clipping, reaching out with his other hand, tracing over the article about the child almost like a caress. as the memories return.
When I see him reach out into the light to grab the paper,
So you would see just like this scaly hand just kind of emerge from the shadows and like just grab it and pull it back into the darkness.
hey, wait, hey, Snake Man. I start to walk forward a little bit, measured pace, totally keeping my distance.
Right.
Why do you hide in the shadows?
Because it is from the shadows that I strike.
Now I'm intrigued. I walk a little bit closer. I think I take off my glasses. I think you're the people I've been looking for. From the information that I got about this bank robbery, it seems that several of the officers were crushed to death. Now, I want to tell you, I'm not the law. And I take a step closer. I'm here looking for employment. Is there any openings? And I take another step closer. My heart beating out of my chest. Like, I could feel the pulse in my neck and like behind my eyes. But I try not to show it. But you can see like clearly the jugular.
Constrictor examines him from the shadows. As the man approaches, he will see something darker within the shadows, looming closer, and then finally till it emerges from the shadow as he looms above him, looking down, peering at him with his eyes as his forked tongue jumps out to taste the air. Perhaps we can talk.
I look over the alley. You want to talk here?
No, I have a place. Come with me. And he kind of smiles as he turns around into the darkness.
My heart like drops down into my belly. And I just picture myself like a rat in a cage. All right. I'll follow.
Now, do you take him through the sewers, or do you try to slink through the alleys and make your way back?
Yeah, I would not want to necessarily reveal even that part of my lair that I used to get to the hideout. So yeah, I would take him through the alleys as best I could.
Okay.
That close to my other, the group lair, I would be more comfortable with taking a chance of moving through the alleys because, people would just naturally kind of avoid it, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
On our way, I would say, I know where we can get a hot dog.
Okay.
Thanks.
But I keep following him through these alleys.
I am not currently hungry. And he kind of smiles at him over his shoulder as he continues forward.
Do I see a boy-shaped object in his abdomen?
No, it'd be definitely if that was
It's been about a week, so I think it would be gone by now.
pretty well digested.
So you did eat him.
Yes.
Oh my God.
All right, so you managed to make your way back to your other base of operation just fine. Anyone that would have been in the alleys on your approach, would have pretty much vacated the premise almost immediately, as glowing yellow eyes peered at them. They're like, yeah, I got somewhere else to be right now. So you would come across, Constrictor, familiar sight. You would see Vigil coming around the corner. It's a long alley. There's a street at the end of the alley. Still in the same neighborhood, the rough end of town. And there's brick walls on both sides, but on one side there's like this old beat up looking building, pretty deep in the alley. It's clearly, it's probably 90, 100 years old. It's been here since the city, one of the first buildings here, and it just got built around and lost as the city expanded. And so you make your way inside, and you see a sparsely furnished room. It's got the general luxuries. Couch, places to sit, there's a table, there's a fridge, there's a computer sitting off in one corner. A little bit older looking, but for where it is, it looks out of place. There's a stairs that leads up, you see, to the second floor, and a door in the back. But other than you two, there's nobody else present.
Yeah, and while we've fixed the place up, I imagine as we're just starting, we haven't really been able to do too much.
Right.
Security-wise, as we enter and I close the door, there would be like a basic lock and a deadbolt, but I imagine we could have installed things that I could like stick a piece of wood over the door.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as far as like alarm, would reach up and pull down and be like one of those bell things that are on stores, so when you open the door, it rings.
Yep.
Something like that, just so we would have a little warning of when someone comes in.
Yeah. All right, so that's what you see. Very, very basic, but it gets the job done.
So once we enter, I'll obviously turn on the lights, and I imagine I'd have a favorite spot that I like to settle self in, and I'll just kind of coil up and get settled.
Absolutely.
So, what did you wish to speak about?
Well, the only thing worth talking about, money and how to get it.
Yes, money is good, but I'm also working to get the attention of not only Cerberus, but of the Vanguard as well.
Well, and I turn and I walk around, my hands behind my back, and I'm looking up at the ceiling, and I pace for a bit. And then I turn over my shoulder and square him with my shoulders and say, have you gotten the attention of either?
Well, I have left them a few messages. I've yet to hear back, so I may have to send a few more.
Maybe the best way to reach out to them is to go to a news network, get on camera, and have a reporter read off who we're looking for. Maybe by trying to get the attention of the Vanguard.
Yes, perhaps, as they seem to have little concern for the police or their families, perhaps being on television will get their attention.
So I walk more around the room, measured pace. News comes on at 10 o'clock at night. That might give us enough time to scout the location and to devise a plan to get on TV. Or we could cause an incident. When the reporters come, I can grab the camera and have the reporter announce our arrival. That, I'm supposing you want to stay in the shadows, of course.
Yes, that may be better if we can draw them to us and be better prepared. Have them where we want them to be.
So
this is the best way to hunt.
Where's a good place to draw out the reporters? Maybe we can call the local newspaper. Say we have information about the missing child and that we want to speak to a reporter. Maybe they'll send someone out with a camera.
Yes.
Or we could write them. I don't know if we should write or email them a letter. They might not take it seriously. We'll need something to validate our claims.
Well, perhaps another child could go missing. Could they afford not to follow up on a fresh story?
Maybe a busload of children. School lets out soon, doesn't it? We can film at a bridge. I'm on one side, you're on the other.
Well, since the incident with the child, school has thus far been canceled.
What about, wouldn't they still need daycare?
What about after-school programs?
Any of the after-school programs that are going on, there have been police detachments sent to these programs for fear that, the mangled corpse of another one of these show up on their parents' doorsteps or something.
So, no football games, prep rallies, swarming with cops, huh?
Yeah, there's a few police officers that will pretty much be present at all of these due to constrictors' last message.
And I imagine that would have been on the news too about coverage of police. Yeah.
Absolutely. You'd have caught that on the news. It was in the paper.
So perhaps instead we just need to visit another home, make ourselves welcome.
Maybe this time we need to visit the police chief's home.
Well, there is currently there would be a new police chief looking to take up residence. Because while the situation was going on at the bank, there was also, in the newspaper and on the news, another group of villains actually assaulted the main precinct where the police chief resides, and they broke in, managed to destroy a lot of the property, set a bomb off, in the entranceway to blow their way in. Got to and murdered the police chief. Now, when this happened, the officers found this to be an opportune time to test out, their prototype security measure, which was about like a 25, 30-foot tall mech, police mech, which showed up on the scene and handily stopped the conflict, fired off a couple of these rounds from like this 30-millimeter cannon on its arm and sent the heroes running. And since that incident, the mayor has been pushing pretty much, in the process of getting more of these made and having one sent to every precinct since its first, unveiling its glorious test run was a complete success as far as they're concerned.
Perhaps we can kill two birds with one stone.
What idea do you have?
In our last endeavor, we were able to get some information from the bank. Perhaps within this information they have information regarding their deliveries, their deposits, and we can take the child of one of these people, force them to either withdraw money from the bank and give it to us in exchange for their child, or if it's an employee of the bank, get information, hit one of their deliveries. And of course, after we have the money, then we can use the child to get the attention of the news.
Now, you would also be aware, Constrictor in particular, that I can't remember his name. For all intents and purposes, I'll just call him the Scarlet Hood. The other guy that was working with you went off with most of the information to get trying to get access to some better equipment to start funneling the funds out of those accounts that you stole from the bank into your own personal accounts. Now you may have picked up, talking to him, maybe some names of some of the people, whatever some of the numbers and stuff. Whether or not you were too interested in all this mathematical tech mumbo jumbo, I don't know. I wouldn't think so.
Most likely not. So the only way we could do that is to do like our own scouting or digging about it.
Right. Then, word around the water cooler too is that the Iron Skull, a little more well-known villain, had an operation going on in deep in the sewers. Now, considering that's like your backyard, Constrictor, you've probably been keeping some tabs on this. He was trying to build, some robots or something of his own for whatever nefarious ends he had in mind. And a group of heroes assaulted that, drawn off a location, and just ransacked the area. So you are aware of that. He got beat up pretty bad in that conflict as well. He's pretty salty about it.
Maybe we should find a hero, videotape us killing him, and then send it into the news. Send a message to the Vanguard directly.
Yes, there was one not too far from here that we were looking at some time ago. He's kind
Do
of.
we have a name?
He does. As far as you're aware, there's two heroes that seem to kind of patrol like the 10 or so blocks around the area. Not on any set schedule by any means, but the one is pretty subtle and covert about his methods. So no one knows exactly quite what he looks like. All kinds of mismatched information. No name. The other one is called Grognar. He's think more like Casey Jones, if you will. He's pretty open about busting heads and bringing villainy to justice.
And his name's Grognard?
Grognar. Whether or not he has any powers is unknown.
I say his name's Grognard. Grognard actually means frog legs in French.
Okay.
Maybe if we get a little froggy, he'll hop on over. We should head out to where he patrols at this night, cause some mayhem, and flay him.
Yes, that was one of the things we considered doing, as he is more known his territories where he works. So we might have a good chance of running into him.
Okay. Now, as far as you know, he's just a vigilante. He's not immediately affiliated with the Vanguard, but he's definitely on their side of the fence as far as keeping the peace and stuff. His question.
Maybe we can go down to the pet store, buy some dogs, and just videotape the dogs eating them. just shredding them. And then we'll just ask him behind the camera, why do you want to be a hero? Why do you want to be a hero?
Well, I think, in part at least, the plan will work. But first, we must find him.
I suppose the question would be, what is it that you would do, you feel, that would garner his attention, if this is your course of action?
Well, based on the previous stuff, I mean, he's kind of a vigilante type.
Mm-hmm.
What other crimes was it that he showed up for? Was it protecting people, protecting property, or did it seem random? Or
it doesn't necessarily.
We can start a fire in an apartment building at a place he patrols, and then when the people run out, we fucking kill them at the door.
Now, it doesn't necessarily have a pattern per se, but he has been reported to have shown up, at burglarizations of establishments, some muggings, once in a while, he might make an appearance if there's some stuff going on at a fire. That say, the fire department couldn't handle, like, opposed forces. And it's just kind of sporadically throughout, those 10 or so blocks. Also, some of the other crime is, of course, seemingly being taken care of by this other individual. So,
well, we can just go out and commit some random acts of violence and see who might show their face.
Maybe we can pay some bums to fight each other and see if he'll intervene.
Oh, I doubt it.
Maybe we can get some bums to bite some children in the face and see if he'll intervene.
Well, if we had the children, we wouldn't need the bums. I could take care of them myself.
Yeah, but this way we get to see him approach the guy, and we're not going to be directly attacked by him. Like, we lure him out with bait, then we attack.
And how do we get the bums to attack the children?
I recently just encountered a bum. I'm sure he's still in the area.
Oh, yes, he is nearby.
Oh shit, you killed him, didn't you?
Yeah, and dumped him just outside in the manhole cover, in the sewer.
I tell you what, I'm really fond of the one idea that I heard myself. So I'll offer a GM intrusion here, just to we'll give it to 2 experience for visual, and you have to justify giving 1 to Constrictor, to really try to push the idea of breaking into the news station and just
Ah.
hijacking the cameras.
So I walk over, pull open my jacket, comic book, open it up, and there's a picture of the Joker, and you see him on the news. I'm gonna need your help to do this. I think this is our best way to get the Vanguard and Cerebus attention. I think if this doesn't work, we can always kill this vigilante. But I think getting on the news is the right way to go. What do you say?
Constrictor kind of uncoils a bit and leans forward, seeing this colorful artwork before pretty much just his reading material, his newspapers that he gathers in his lair. He takes the book. Yes, I think this will do nicely.
It's the Killing Joke. That's the one he pulls out.
Yeah, on the cover, it's a picture of it's the Joker, and he's like taking a picture with the camera.
Yep.
What is this? I have not seen this before.
It's Pulp Fiction, man. You never read it?
Perhaps you'll let me keep this and read this one.
Oh man,
Sure.
you're about to get him.
No problem. You open up the inside, first edition, motherfucker!
Oh, it'll be well taken care of in my lair. Don't you worry.
Signed by Mark Hamill.
Has like a little mouse runs by.
Yeah.
All right, so I take out my cell phone. I pull up Google Maps, and I want to see where the nearest news station is.
There's a news station. It's not in this part of the neighborhood. It's closer to the middle class area, if you will. Kind of towards the middle of the town. So there's all kinds of there's bars, stores, strip malls, all that nonsense around in the general area, and it's a large building. Probably about 10 stories, tall, fairly large dimensions. I would say, it's Channel 7 News.
Channel 7 News.
Sure, why not? It's Fox News.
All right. Well, it looks like there's going to be a snake in the Fox house tonight. So how do you get around? You're mostly Slither, but can you drive? Does someone drive you, or?
He kind of rises to his full height, his snake body, 8 feet, so towering pretty high. I generally slither through the sewers or the shadows.
It'd clearly be pretty difficult to get him in a car. You're looking like you would need like an SUV at the smallest.
Like a cargo van.
Yeah, like just put him in the back of a truck. Jesus.
That'd be inconspicuous, to be sure.
I'll just get a tarp. I can slither down real low.
Maybe we can get an El Camino.
Well, how far away did you say it was?
It's a few miles, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. With city traffic and all that nonsense, it'd be a good hour and a half trip to get there. At this point, you guys have been in here for about, between everything that happened, about an hour or so yourself. So it's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon now at this point.
If we leave now, we can get the 6 o'clock news. But if we wait till 10, it'd give us more time in planning.
Yes, and there might be less people to worry about being later. So any guesstimates how long it would take me to get there through the sewers?
Well, through the sewers, it's like a double-edged sword. Depending on where you're going, it's faster. But at the same point in time, it could be longer if you have to take a roundabout pass. You don't have to deal with traffic, none of that stuff. You don't got to stop, but there's not always a direct path to where you want to go. But considering its location, I would say, if you went into the sewers, you could probably save a half hour. Considering you could get a relatively direct path over there, with all the drains and runoffs from the streets and whatnot. There'd be a lot of options for you to, approach from.
So could just meet there, perhaps.
Yeah, that could maybe work.
Unless you wish to travel with me through the sewers.
I look down at my Tom Ford pants. No. Maybe I can gain access and then open up a back door for you into the station. Because I feel like as soon as you enter, alarm bells are going to ring.
Now,
Yes.
I am curious, Vigil, what is it that you do, that you're wearing such, finery?
Oh, I just live off my parents.
Okay. So I assume they're pretty well off. All right. I was just curious. You guys can, I don't know if there's going to be more to it, so you guys can proceed with your planning and whatnot.
So, And you see me walk around this table, and I'm writing out plans in the dust. And I'm drawing like a 7-story building with like little windows. And if we get into problems, we can try to slither down. I'll ride your back. And So if we enter in, which floor is the broadcast on? Do we know that?
You're not entirely sure what floor they broadcast on. Now, you would be able to safely assume that the first floor, is like a lobby, to be sure.
Once there, I'm sure we can encourage those there to show us where we need to go.
That's true, but I think we should also take measures in place to help prevent people coming to seize us. Like maybe a claymore we leave on the elevator. Maybe some tripwires in the stairwell.
Now, would you reasonably have access to this, or where would you procure it from? Do you know?
Oh, a claymore mine? I have no idea.
Okay. I don't know if you like knew any back alley dealers that would have like military level stuff that you could acquire, or
No, I don't. I put my hands on the table, I stand up. I just don't know how this is gonna work.
I say we just hit them hard and hit them fast. Take out the ones that we do not need. There must be some basic security in the building, locks and such, that we can use to slow down the authorities as well as hostages.
now.
Well, they're sure to have our mugs all over this building. They'll have cameras everywhere. Probably IDs to get on floors. We'll
Perhaps
basically
not.
have to kill people front and back. That means they're going to go off television. Police are going to come. We're not going to be in the first floor, so we'll have to fight our way out.
Now, perhaps they don't have your mug visual. If you haven't been up to, making too big of a mess. Constrictor, on the other hand, while they don't necessarily have a direct image of his face, the police officers' dash cams and some of the footage they were able to recover in the bank definitely portrays some large freakish snake thing.
Now, what I think
Like a sore thumb.
is going to be a better action is we set a fire in the city. Wherever there's a fire in the city, if it's large enough, that means the news is going to come out to cover it. So then we can kidnap a reporter and then have our stuff broadcasted live when they cut to him. That way it saves us from traveling. We pick the location and we still get on the news. Maybe a vigilante comes, tries to attack us. 2 birds, 1 stone. 3 birds, 1 stone. Vanguard, Cerberus, and a vigilante. Potentially. What do you think, Constrictor? Burning down a building's easy. You just throw in some gasoline and hear the screams.
Yes, perhaps that would work. Could, as you say, draw out the vigilante or perhaps even a hero and take them down live on TV.
Oh, now you're talking. Yes, yes. So what location do we hit? An apartment building? An apartment building goes on fire. There's definitely going to be news cameras.
Yes. Perhaps we can take measures to hinder the exit and entrance into the building as well.
Yeah, what we could do is do you have any accesses to like a rifle? We could set up a charge, blow it from far away, and then when people flee out the building, we can peck them off with a rifle.
You would, unless you sold them all, you tell me you would still have a couple of the pistols and shotguns as well as some
Please.
Actually, let me ask you this, Heath. Would I be able to ignite the gasoline with my X-ray eyes?
For all intents and purposes, yeah. You could focus it into like a microwave-like beam that is strong enough to burn flesh. So absolutely.
I packed Constrict on the side. I think we have our plan.
Very good. So now we just have to choose a location.
I think the richer the location, the bigger the news coverage, the bigger the police presence. Maybe we'll even see their new mech that they brought out and a vigilante. So is there a rich place in town, like a huge condominium that like keeps the super rich here?
Yeah, there's definitely a few of those around, where, some of the large business entrepreneurs, perhaps some starlets and, actors may
I
reside.
mean, if we attack this place, it's not gonna be local. It's gonna be global. How does that sound to you?
It sounds perfect.
But we could probably hit a slum complex. Wouldn't probably have the same amount of police presence and would be less difficult. We would probably still have our plan work out.
hmm Now the yeah, that's definitely an option as well. So the on one hand, the large, complex, the Ritz where the wealthy and whatnot and famous live, would definitely garner the most attention. Absolutely. And there would be more response units. And the smaller one, the trade-off for having, less to deal with is it may not garner, global attention. For citywide, for sure. Well, that also is going to depend on what happens.
Yes. If we go too big now and do not succeed, that could hurt us rather than help.
I stand up. I put my hands behind my back. I walk towards the wall, my head looking towards the roof. I turn on a dime. I look at him. My hands part to my sides, opening up wide. And I say, I think we've made our decision about where we're going to hit.
Very well. Then let's get started.
All right. So, what would you gentlemen like to do as far as procuring your stuff? You looking to get like some gasoline? You want to get your hands on?
Yeah, I would take the car. I would go to a gas station, and I would just buy jugs and jugs and jugs of gas, put them in the back of the trunk, close it up, and drive over to the place where I want to hit.
All right. So yeah, we'll say you got about five of those like 5 gallon tins of gasoline full. So you got like 25 gallons of gasoline just sitting in your trunk. And
Hey, Constrictor, you have a phone, don't you?
A phone? Hmm.
Man,
Well, I did have the cell phone.
alright, so I
but
stop by Verizon and I pick him up a phone.
all right, he gets you a burner.
I was gonna say I have the cop's phone, but I don't know if that'd still be active. And if it was, I don't know if it'd be a good idea to use it.
Probably not.
Probably not. Alright, I pick up some burner phones. I just go to a mall kiosk, I pick them up.
Can I scavenge up a hammer and some nails and some pieces of wood?
Yeah, that'd be easy enough to.
Like from pallets, tear off some wood.
Yeah, I'm sure that you probably got a hammer and some nails laying around you guys' place from some of your
I stop by Ace Hardware, look at my list, hammer and nails. What the fuck is this guy building?
Yeah. So we'll say it's definitely you could definitely get some hammer nails for sure. He could even buy you a nice craftsman hammer or something if you wanted. Boards, yeah, you'd easily be able to get some of those. You could just go right down to that warehouse a couple blocks down where there's pallets laying all over the place.
Because the intent being that once we get the gasoline in place to, uh, wood and nail the doors. Because I imagine that he can do it through that material. It's not like he has to be right at it, or as soon as we exit the building, do that just to make it a little harder for the people to get out.
Oh, what I was thinking I would do is I would just walk in there with gallons of gasoline, pour it on the floor, walk out, set it on fire, so it's just like flames behind my back, ripping up the building as I walk away.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Is there anything else that you guys feel the need to procure before we get down to business?
I think we should get a VHS camera and record.
That's what I was gonna say. Can you get us a couple like GoPros?
Yep, that's happening.
And I want to like get it so I can like have it mounted on my head or something, just so I can get the constrictor point of view. Yes.
Yeah, I get him a Go cam. That not a problem. I get myself a little black mask.
Okay.
Like, I stop by a store where they sell Halloween costumes, and I pick up like a Lone Ranger mask with like a little rubber string that goes around.
Sure. Yeah. Comes with a hat and everything.
Oh, I don't need the hat. No.
Mask, all right.
Yeah. So I got this perfectly tailored suit, little black mask, 2 jugs of gasoline, little GoPro camera, hammer and nails.
You guys are good
I
to
pull
go.
up in my Lexus. It's black with gold trim.
Now, what time is it? Do you guys wait, or what do you just head over there right now, like 6 o'clock in the afternoon, or?
I think what we want to do is head over there around 9 o'clock, so it gives the news people plenty of time to come down there by 10.
Okay.
I agree.
All right.
Because the thing is, flames look better at night.
Yeah. Plus, I work better in darkness.
All right.
It's going to
So
take a while to get all this crap anyway.
yeah. So you spend the next couple hours going around, getting your gas and hammer and nails, phones, and all the other gear. Meet back up, go over the plan again. Go down the checklist, make sure you got everything, and then about 8 o'clock, it's time. You're like, all right, it's time to do this.
I look at Constrictor and I say, I kind of feel like I should have got some super soakers. So that way, I can just shoot people with the gasoline, and when they run through the fire... Hindsight's 20/20, my friend. Next time.
Yes, we'll make the note for next time.
And I have a little list on the dash that says next time, and it's like hand grenades, smoke bombs, and then underneath that, super soaker.
Okay. So, Constrictor, do you the sun's waning. It's definitely twilight, getting pretty dark. Do you still stick to the sewers, or would you actually like to squeeze in the car, or you pretty much want to take up the whole back seat?
Yeah, I probably could fit though. I wouldn't mind.
All right, so what we do is we're by a building, and you see there's a hose next to it. I'm like, come over here, man. Turn on the water. I hose Constrictor down before he gets in my car.
Okay. Just trying to keep that funk away.
Gotta get that sewer away from my Lexus. You walk in, it's all like calfskin leather, gray. It the scales come in and it just smears like black all over it. Damn it.
You might be wondering, Constrictor, you might be curious, like this this guy, this vigil guy, seems pretty well off. Like, why would he want to start, you know, slumming it, if you will?
Do you ask me that, or is it just something you're thinking?
I mean, I'm just suggesting. I'm curious.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if Constrictor's thought processes would be there yet.
Okay, sure. I still need. I was also the two experience that you got earlier. The one that you give to him. Why?
Because he's helping me create a profile for myself as a villain,
Okay.
and he's helping me become a part of a larger team. That is Cerebus. That's how it's pronounced.
All right. Excellent. All right. So everything's in order. You guys head out. The nightlife is coming out. The bar signs and the neons are glowing. The streets painted, with the neon reds and oranges glistening off the windows. You see people kind of stumbling around, clearly drunk. And about 45 minutes or so go by as you're, making your way through the city. And
I turn on the radio in the car. Oops, I did it again.
Britney Spears starts pumping out of the speakers, and you see it about half a block away. There's a apartment complex, fairly large, probably closer to middle class-ish. It's about 3 stories tall. Runs probably in length, some odd 50 to 80 feet, and then it kind of goes back like a big square. And then in the middle of the complex, would be kind of like like a playground or swimming pool kind of area for the residents to take their kids to or otherwise interact with.
Are there any children playing at the moment?
No, it's like I said, it's late. They're probably about bedtime. You guys like 9 o'clock by the time you guys get there. And you would notice, just standard, standard city life going about. Some taxis moving up and down the street. You see occasionally a few cars, pedestrians walking.
All right, so I would pull up to the building, change the radio station. Oldies.
Sure.
Turns on. You put the lime in the coconut, you mix it all up. I put on my leather gloves. You put the lime in the coconut, mix it all together. Doctor! I open up the door. Is there nothing I can take? Doctor! I open up the trunk. To relieve this bellyache, I pull out the gasoline. Doctor! Is there nothing I can take? And I walk over to the building. Look over at Constrictor. He has his GoPro on his fucking head. Are you coming?
So yeah, Constrictor slithers out, beginning to uncoil himself from the floor of the back seat as he follows after.
So you pop the trunk and you see 5 of these 3-gallon metal gasoline canisters in there, about 2 dozen boards, a Craftsman Pro hammer, and a package of nails.
And so, as I walk to the door of this apartment complex, how do you get in?
In the middle of the building, there's kind of like an awning that extends out. And there's the name of the complex over top of it. Stonehenge apartment complex. and there's a glass door that would lead into a lobby where one may apply for residency. It says this late at night, there's no one in the lobby. There's just kind of the interior lights are on, like the dim, yellowish orange lights.
All right. Well, I put down my gasoline, pull out my mask, put it on. Doctor! Open up the door, hold it with my butt, grab the gasoline. Is there nothing I can take?
So when you come to the door, it is locked. It does lock at night, so only residents.
Oh, that's why I was asking you before. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
The door. No, that's all right. Hold on. Is there a comm here with people's names that you can ring?
Yeah, there's one of those, large comms on the side with numbers all down the side.
Perfect. What's the name of the city electric company? Is it like Edison Electric or?
No, it's Tesla Power.
All right, Tesla Power. I'm gonna ring one and say, Tesla Power Electric. I'm here to do an inspection.
So it's quiet for a minute, and then you hear a voice come back over the comm, like, we didn't get a notice or anything from the landlord or Tesla Power about any inspection.
Okay, I'll just keep going down the list until I get someone to let me in as Tesla Power. This is a huge building.
Okay. So you're probably at it for about 10 minutes, and finally someone comes back over the intercom. Sounds like an elderly lady. She's like, "Oh, yeah, I've been having some problems with my power lately. Yeah, that's
all right. Buzz us in."
You hear as the buzzer goes to unlock the door.
I look at the snake man, like slither up the stairs to get to me. I hold the door for him. Come on in.
So I'll make my way inside, following after him, casting a glance to the street before I enter.
Okay. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Seems to be going on in the street. Again, just the general hubbub of the city. This isn't exactly in a very busy area either. Wouldn't be good for business to be right next to a bar or something like that.
All right. So when we walk into the first floor, how is it laid out? Is there like a main hallway with smaller hallways to the left and to the right?
Yeah. So you go to the lobby, and you would see the desk, like a door behind it, leading back, to management and stuff like that. Then there's a large door in front of you, wooden, some brass handles, and you open it. And as you walk through, to the left and to the right is a hallway that runs the length, and you would see doors, spaced periodically down the hallway. And then it seems to go down for a ways and kind of curves on either side, like a big square. And there's also a door directly in front of you with a large window where you can see through out into like the playground, recreational kind of area that it's built around for the tenants.
Okay. Well, I'll tell Constrictor to start on one side and to work our way back to the front door, and we'll just spill this gas everywhere. And then once we're at the front, I'll just ignite it and we can leave.
Now, from the description, it doesn't sound like there's much I would be able to do as far as boarding up the doors and stuff.
You got all this wood in your arms.
Yeah, are there stairs wooden?
Usually concrete.
No, they got like on like each corner, there would be a set of stairs, and they're kind of like those metal ones that you might find kind of like more, again, like a factory or school or something like that. Pretty sturdy. You don't got to do a whole lot of maintenance to them. You would see some fire exits placed around the building as well.
So, and I suppose those open out. You push them open, right?
Correct.
So I guess what I would have to do then is do them from the outside to try to see if I can block them with the wood in some way.
Okay.
Constrictor, you should look and see if there's a way to turn off the water to this building from the sewer. So if they have any sprinklers, they won't be able to...
Well, yeah, look up. Do they seem to have any sprinklers or anything?
There's a sprinkler system.
Maybe you could just reach up there and break it. Just pipe, right?
Well, but if I break it, it may cause the water to just spill. In my trips in the sewer, have I seen where there's any kind of like cut-off valves for buildings or whatnot?
Tell you what, give me a level 3 knowledge check. We'll see if you mapped out this area much and might know where the water main would lead to, this particular water main. The city is big, and there's a lot of tunnels. So we'll see if he knows this particular area at all.
10?
Yeah.
All right, yep, that's enough. So yeah, you recall back, scouring your memory, and almost Minotaur-like, your personal labyrinth. You're like, yes, I've come across a water main that seems like it would lead over to this area.
I look at him and I say, we're already in here. We already have the gasoline. If you go back into the sewers, we're going to be putting off our plans for too long. Next time.
Yes, I doubt they will be very effective in completely extinguishing the blaze.
So I just start pouring out the gas all over the floor. Just like gobs of gas. Blah, 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 blah. Just comes chugging out of this thing. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, yeah. So, as you're moving around pouring out this gas, you've probably got one in each hand. These large, gas canisters, and you're, walking, just trailing it behind you. The carpet just getting soaked, reeking of petrol, and you hear a door close down the hallway, and the rattling of keys, and you would turn and see a man standing at the door, looking like he just came out, locking up behind himself. Constrictor, I assume you went the other way down the hallway. Is that right?
Yeah.
So you would not necessarily see this, but Vigil, you would.
Okay, is he carrying a cane like he's blind?
No.
Okay. Has he seen me?
Not quite yet.
All right, well, I'm going to run down there and cut him in half, and then run back.
What? Cut him in. What are you cutting him in half with?
As you see, like, I pull out of, like, behind where my waist is, up to the top of my suit, you just see the sword pull out.
Okay.
It's like
The only one.
yeah, exactly. So I pull it out, and it looks like a Roman gladius,
Okay.
and I just want to run and like slit this guy right up the back, like I'm unzippering his spine.
All right. So do two things for me. Uh, give me a stealth check. We'll say it's level 2.
What do I need a stealth check for?
Since you have to run down the hallway thumping along to not alert him, so maybe he doesn't shout out, unless you don't care.
All right, I'll do a stealth roll, I guess. Level 2?
Yep.
This guy's a level 2 dude? What the fuck am I facing?
You got to run down this lengthy hallway.
All right.
You know.
Usually the level of the character determines the difficulty, but
What's the level 2?
level 2 civilian. All right. That's a 5 on the die, so I fail. He hears me.
So yeah, he does hear your footsteps thudding down the hallway, and he's locking his door, and he kind of turns and sees this figure just hauling ass at him. The glint of light flicks off the blade, and he opens his mouth to scream out, like, "Who the hell are you? What are you doing here?" And before he can get much more out in that manner, though, he's silenced immediately, as a large gash just appears along his throat, his head folding back like a Pez dispenser, and he falls to the ground in a heap as Vigil looms over him. You would hear, an echo down the hallway of a man shouting, Constrictor, and then silence shortly after. So some of the other tenants may very well be alerted to a presence in the building at this point.
Well, good. We want them to come running. And I will run back and get the gasoline and finish dropping it all over the floor.
All right. Well, what's Constrictor make of that?
I would at first pause at the sound of shouting, but then at the silence, I would just continue my work, dumping it as I'm going down the hall. I would also splash it on the doors and the jams as I pass, just moving quickly to get it done.
All right, so you guys are starting to move with some haste now, and Constrictor, you can hear the sound of, some locks turning, and you kind of, down the hallway, you see a couple heads kind of peek out of the doors, and there are the night runner lights along the hallway, so it's not complete blackness, and you see their eyes kind of go wide as they see this massive snake-like figure moving down the hallway, trailing something behind him.
I'm sure they could smell the gasoline.
Oh yeah, that's starting to permeate through the area.
Yeah, as they poke their heads out, I loom up to my full height that the ceiling will allow as I hiss at them, burying my snake fangs and my tongue darting out at them.
Oh yeah, it doesn't take much, and they duck back in. You hear the door slam and locks clatter, and a similar sight would greet you, Vigil, down the hallway. And on top of seeing this unknown figure and the smell of gas, in the hallway, they see the slumped body, blood spreading around it in your wake, and they just kind of again they freak the fuck out, and they go back in and slam their doors. You hear them lock, and up top, the top 2 layers, you're starting to hear some activity. You see over the balcony some people peering down, kind of some shouts, coming from them get inside, blah blah, call the cops, lock the door. We're there's some strange people out there, things of the sort. So clearly they're aware of your presence.
Awesome. Have we finished spreading this gas everywhere?
We'll say, yeah, while this is going on, you guys managed to run around, the first floor, meet up on the other end, and, a canister in your weight, fresh ones in your hand, nearly empty.
Well, I'll just leave the canisters here. I'll hold the door open for a constrictor to walk out in the street. And then as I leave to go, I will just shoot with my eyes with a little parting glance. Turn my back as it ignites, and walk out the burning building.
As I make my way out, I make sure to leave some, and I toss them up the stairs to the next level, and then slither out, heading into the darkness.
All right, so you can, as you go outside, you can already hear sirens in the distance as the blaze starts to, grow and roar behind you. The fire alarm goes off. The sprinkler system begins to, fight against the blaze. But, the flames fueled by the gasoline are not ones to be extinguished so easily. And you can hear screams and shouts as, smoke begins to rise. You can see people in the windows, opening them, some pounding on them, screaming for help. And it looks like some people are looking to even potentially climb out of the windows and get onto like the fire escape to get out of the building.
So I just walk up to the car. I open up the back door for constrictor. I walk around to the front, and I hop in. Doctor, is there nothing I can take? And I turn on the lights, and I'll pull around to the side of another alley where we can still keep view, cut the lights, and watch as the fire department and the whatnot comes. And
Okay.
hopefully, I'm going to keep an eye out for the news reporters so we can capture one.
So it doesn't take too long, The city's got a pretty damn good response time, especially considering villains live here or reside here. And probably about no more than 10, 15 minutes after you guys, exit, pull into the alley, you see two large red trucks pull up. Men jump out, clad in thick yellow suspenders, clearly firemen, and immediately start unraveling hose, get in position, and begin to hose the building down. Some of them move to start helping pedestrians, out of the way, get bystanders out of the blaze, getting them off the fire escape. A couple of them, going into the building, to check it, help secure and make sure, everybody's out. A couple police cars show up and begin to, make a perimeter around the area, and as this blaze begins to grow and just roar, consuming this building. And probably about 5 or 10 minutes after the police cars arrive, you see like this large white van just roaring down the street. Pulls up beside one of the officers' cars, and the two doors open. You see the man get out, driver, another person get out, and the door in the back slides open, and another individual hops out, and he's rummaging around for a minute, and pulls out this big ass camera, puts it up on his shoulder, and the gentleman who was driving, talking to the officer, and then the other guy who got out the passenger side moves around, kind of, gets up, straightens out his jacket, makes sure his hair is good to go. He's kind of like, signals the guy, get rolling. And the guy's like, all right, we're live. You see the light come on, and he's got a microphone. He starts talking, to the cameraman. We're here downtown Stonehenge apartment complex, which is now ablaze behind me, as you can see. There are reports from, some of the tenants, and you can make, some of this out.
All right. Are these people on the street or are they on the sidewalk? Yes.
They're a little bit like halfway. They're not like on the sidewalk right next to the fire, but they're kind of like in the middle of the street.
Would I be able to take the car, drive it into the reporter, have Constrictor jump out, little GoPro on top of his helmet, grab the cameraman, and then do our broadcast? Me in the suit.
I mean, you could. I mean, you do. Like I said, you will. You do notice that there's the fire, station, and some officers, in the area keeping people back and stuff. So.
Oh, I'm aware.
You could. You would likely be spotted, but you certainly could.
What do you think, Constrictor? I'm gonna start revving the engine.
How many officers are there?
Right now, you see there's about 6 of them. There were 3 cars.
Are they all sitting together like eating donuts? What?
No. They all parked, in different spots, around the building and got out and are like, setting up a perimeter to keep.
Oh, they're setting up a perimeter. Perfect. So I want to take the car and I just want to fucking plow it through them, like pop, 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 and then I want to come around and I want to drive back to the news camera.
You could certainly try.
Awesome, let's do it.
I think what I will do is get out and hide in the alley, and as he goes through, if he misses any, then I'm going to strike out at him to try to take him out quick.
All right. Well,
so you see my leather gloves and the steering wheel. I had the brake on, and then I'm gonna like press down the gas. Piles of smoke. And I'm just gonna, as he steps out the door, I just fucking rush it.
All right. So, you come, ripping out of the alley. You see like headlights just come on. The roar of the engine, smoke, billowing up behind you, and it just comes ripping out of there like a nightmare.
Take off like a shot from a 45.
So, like I said, they're kind of, it's like a block, so it's kind of like a square. So, you're coming in. So you're going to need to make a drive test to see how many, if any, of these officers, you hit, and make sure you don't have a collision or something along the way.
Cool.
So with the, like I said, with the chaos, the perimeter, everything that's going on, trying to do this as professionally as possible. We'll say it's a level 3 task to,
Okay. Wow. All right.
To hit some officers and avoid, their cars and the perimeter and stuff.
All right. Let's do it. We can do it. 11. Yep.
All right, so you come ripping out, and there's an officer out there got his hand out, like waving people back, and like he turns, and as he turns, he just gets it in the hip, and
it's like a fucking watermelon of jelly.
Yeah, you see his head just crash into your windshield, it's spider webs, and then you're going down, and the other officer down the way sees this. And like pulls out his pistol and like starts, bring it up and open fire, and you see some blood kind of spurt out of the body as it catches bullets on the window, and he goes to dive to the side, and you hear like a thud and catching, the rear view mirror, the officer kind of laying on the ground, one of his legs at an angle it shouldn't fucking be at, just screaming out. So one's dead, one's severely wounded. Now, were you where were you headed exactly? Were you just trying to run him over, or?
Yeah, I'm just trying to run him over, man.
Okay. So one's out of the fight for sure. The other one is going to be next to useless. So when this happens, Constrictor, what do? You see him just fucking paste one, mangle another's leg.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to use the chaos and all the attention that he's drawn to slither through the shadows and try to reach one of the officers.
So there's this huge fucking blaze. This black Lexus comes peeling out, explodes an officer. Another one shoots at him. Then he gets clipped in the leg, and then this giant snake man comes out.
Yep.
Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the advantage, of the chaos and all that, if you want to try and do it stealthily, I'll give you an asset to your stealth roll, as their attention is immediately drawn to this lunatic in the Lexus, just whipping around trying to run them over. If you wanted to go that route to catch
And
one, like
on the radio's playing, "Get out the way! Get out the way!
move, bitch!
Get out the way! Get out the way!"
I do 100 on the highway. If you're doing the speed limit, get the fuck out of my way.
So
Oh shit! A 4.
I got a 4, but I am trained in sneaking, and I don't know with the asset what that puts me at.
Yeah, that would have been enough to like drop it down to a frickin' 0. Like you automatically succeed.
So yeah, I come slithering out of the alley in the darkness as low to the ground as I can. As I sight in on one of the officers, you just basically see the view from the Go Cam. You hear this soft hiss of excitement. My body giving a slight shudder all the way down the length to the tip of the tail as I sight into the officer and slither up to him.
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. You see, the Go Cam gets low to the ground, like we're watching Cloverfield or something, and it just kind of like whips back and forth rapidly, but moving forward, and rises up. You see like this view rise up, and then you see like this shadow looming over the officer for a moment, and then come fucking crashing down on top of him. Then that instant, you kind of see through this can like the officer's face turn and go wide, like ah, and immediately like the screams cut off, and the cam just kind of goes black for an instant as you coil around him. And yeah, he's pretty well crushed. We'll say he's crushed on the spot. So there's 3 officers still alive. The one is fucked up on the side of the road. He's calling for paramedics at this point. Talking about the building's on fire. Some lunatic in a Lexus, ran down one, hit him, need paramedics. Not quite aware of your presence yet. One of the other officers, that was on the other side of the building is running, in your direction, Constrictor. And all this is happening pretty fast. It's probably been, with the time and everything, a half hour roughly since you set the blaze and all the units started to arrive, and you guys, come out and struck. And you'll hear, you see up in like the 3rd floor window, someone, waving their arms, hollering, for help. Help, I can't get out, the hallway's on fire, help. And, one of the fire trucks, one of the fire trucks like goes like, swinging its ladder around. The guy's hustling up it, to try and get him out. And as this is happening, you see the news people like running around to get footage of this Lexus like speeding around, and they hurry up and go over to the officer and like get a shot of like his jacked up leg. Their attention's no longer on the blaze, and like as you can see, someone has just decided to run down one of the officers, killing one, breaking the leg of another. The ambulance is currently on the way. We don't know what's happening. We have no clue.
So I want to spin this car around and fucking jack the news reporter.
So you're trying to, whip it around 180 and all that?
Hell yeah, dude. Actually, I want to take the car and I want to drift it, like between the fire rescue, like the fire trucks, like drift it around and then like take the back of the car and just like hit her like a golf ball and send her into the blaze, like pow.
Okay. So you're probably by no means, a drifter or a racer. So if like a maneuver like that, with the bodies and vehicles around, I'd say that's level 4 to drift
All right.
between the cars and smack her into the blaze.
All right. I kind of want to spend a level of effort to do this.
You can, sure.
Is that going to be from speed?
I'd say that's from your intellect, knowing how to apply the brakes and turn the wheel properly and everything to pull this maneuver off.
That makes sense. Okay. All right. Yeah, I want to do it.
All right. Big bucks, no whammy.
So this is a level 3 now, right?
Yep.
All right. Woo! 10. It was worth every fucking penny.
All right. So you see the Lexus come fucking whipping back around.
It's like fucking Tokyo Drift.
Tire smoking, and like butter, just slide, between one of the fire trucks and the cop cars, whipping around. The red glow of the tail lights just for a moment illuminating the cameraman, and then the back end comes into view and just cracks the reporter right in his.
All right, can I describe her? Like
Yep.
she's bending down and she's like she has her 2 fingers on the neck of the officer that's been killed, and the microphone's close to her very red lips, and there's like a pearl necklace that's like bouncing back and forth on her blouse, and her black hair is just like gobs and it's silky, and the camera's like clutched in on her face. Then you just see like these tail lights replace where her smashed face was, and you see a license plate that says "fuck you," and it just like moves across the fucking screen. And then it whips around, and it's me, and I'm staring at the camera.
Yeah, so you hear, like a shout and a wet thud as her body goes careening through one of the windows into the blaze, and like the fire just as the glass breaks and she enters, just kind of roars out of the window, feeding on this new source of fuel.
I remember you. You put the lime, coconut, you mix it all up.
The cameraman is completely, baffled. He's just kind of like, a deer in headlights, for that instant. And Constrictor, you would probably see this happen.
So, what I do is I fucking put the car in the park, engine's still running. I walk out the door, slam it, and I'm walking towards the cameraman. Do I see Constrictor move by?
I don't know. How well are you concealing your presence at this point, Constrictor?
Well, I guess that would depend. You said there was an officer walking towards me. Did he see me?
At this point, he's likely going to see the black figure with the light of the blaze, fire flickering off his scales, looming up, and he's going to begin, to unholster his gun.
So yeah, basically, I would charge him as fast as I could, and moving so fast as I uncoil that the body of the cop that I had crushed would spin around like a top for a moment after I'm gone before it falls with a loud wet slap to the pavement.
Yep. All right. So, he's an officer. He's got some training, so he's going to try to react and shoot at you. So, just give me a speed defense roll, level 3, like the previous officers, to see if he can, tag you a couple times before you strike.
So would that be level 2 with my training?
Yep. If you train in speed defense, they'll draw it down to level 2.
Oof. Nope.
All right, so you feel hot lead smack into your chest, and deal 3 points of damage to you as he begins to open up with his Glock 9mm. And you would hear this for sure, Vigil. The resounding crack of gunfire, not too far away.
All right, so the camera is like close on my head as I'm walking towards it, and I look into its face, and I see my mask, right? And I look directly into it. My name's Vigil. Who watches the Watchmen, Vanguard? And then as my head turns to the cop who's shooting my friend, you see like a red glow out of my eyes as I just shoot out these fucking beams and pop this cop's skull. Like, you see his head explode if I can, like right on camera.
All right, make an attack roll.
Out my eyes. Now, this cop's is he behind me or in front of me, or can he see me?
You would, for all intents and purposes, I'll let you have surprise on him, which will reduce the difficulty by 2 steps.
Oh, amazing! What's the difficulty here to hit?
What's that?
What's the difficulty to hit him?
It'll be a 1 now.
Oh, all right, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and shoot this guy right in the fucking base of the skull with fucking microwave X-rays. All right, here we go. 17.
Yeah, you want to apply an extra point of damage?
Actually, can I have a different effect?
17 and 18 is just +1 and +2 damage respectively. 19 and 20 are your minor and major effects.
Okay, yeah, then I will just apply another point of damage, and that'll take it up to 6.
Okay. So, what do your beams look like exactly?
Have you ever watched the show Smallville?
Yeah.
All right, so you see the air itself start to scintillate and warp, and it just moves in like a cylinder, and just. So you see like very small particles out of my eyes, kind of look like explosions of stars, and then this very long, pronounced ray just kind of beams out of it and like magnifies my face with like a little bit of a glow as it ripples through the air, and then just pinpoints the back of this guy's neck where he's had surgery before. There's like a small pimple by his hairline, and it hits it. First, the pimple erupts, and then like the back of his skull just peels off, and his you can see his brain's exposed. It just kind of boils and pops like popcorn. Pop, 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 pop. And you see the front of his eyes as he turns it around, holding his guns, and they just kind of shoot out of his face like ping pong balls. Pop, 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 and go running down the street.
Okay, so officer opening fire on you. Yeah, you see, his cranium just begin to like explode and warp in like the most grotesque way. You were rushing and fall to the ground dead. Then you can trace, the lines, those beams in the air back to Vigil, and you kind of see just like this ominous kind of glow around his retinas, and like a wispy like energy kind of wafting out from the corners of his eyes for a moment.
Would I have been close enough to catch the officer before he fell?
Sure.
So yeah, basically as that happens, the top of his head exploding and his brains sizzling and pulsing. Constrictor smacks into him, coiling him up, catching the spray of blood and brains over his chest and face as he sucks in the man's dying life force, one of the bullet holes in his chest closing.
Yeah, and you kind of see like this mushroom piece of lead kind of push out, and just pop out like a blackhead and clatter to the ground. Now, as you're grabbing him, you feel this thud on your back, and it hurts. It's going to deal some damage. It does 4 points of damage, and you look down and you see like this large, like shot put size, like spiked ball, with some of your blood on it clattered to the ground. And as you would, turn to see where this come from, you see like up on top of the building a figure standing there, illuminated by the the fire, and he looks a lot like this. So,
do we recognize?
You suspect from all the information that you heard that this is Grognar, and you can definitely assume that, as hanging loosely in one arm is this like buzzsaw like axe, and you can kind of hear like the of an engine and see kind of like black smoke rising up before blending into the night sky behind you from the head of this thing. And in one hand, he's kind of tossing up and down another one of these spike balls, leering at you from behind his mask, Constrictor.
Okay, so when I see that, I grin, baring my teeth as I roar out and point, and I activate my grows, my enlarge, as my body begins to grow thicker.
Yeah, you see the muscle and sinew begin to like ripple like steel cord along your arms and the length of your body.
Come die, I have not eaten yet today.
He just kind of cackles menacingly. Just, I've got another present for you, Snake Man. So we'll roll for initiative at this point.
Oh. 6.
Okay.
9.
Okay. He's going to go first.
Yeah, I figured.
So you see him kind of like whip around in a quick circle, his arm out wide, and just chuck another one of these look like spiked mace heads at you, Constrictor. It's just whipping through the air. So you need to make it's a level 4 speed defense roll.
Okay, I'm going to apply effort.
Okay.
To lower that to a 3. Well, it would be a 2 with my regular speed defense, right?
Yep. You apply effort plus your unarmored training, I believe, will drop it down to a 2.
20 on the die.
Ho 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 ho!
Right. So, what do you think would be a reasonable major effect in your, quick evasion?
Maybe Cerebus
Okay.
sees TV.
What happens is he throws this projectile, and I see it coming, and with the speed of a snake, I just whip around it, and it goes and strikes into a police officer right in the head that was coming up behind me.
Yeah, we'll say the one of the other officers that are still up is approaching from behind, and you could use your tail as you evade to kind of like redirect it and ricochet it into this officer's chest. And you hear like the thunk and crack of bone as it pretty well like breaks his sternum and just drops the officer to the ground. Now, he's still breathing, he's not dead, but he's in a shitload of pain. Uh, and he kind of like turns his head like quizzically, and again you just hear like just that maniacal laughter, and he begins to run and move along, the side of the building, and leap down into one of the alleyways between that building and another, and he kind of disappears from sight for a second. Then it'll go to, I believe, Constrictor.
So, having sighted my prey, I will give chase and move into the alley.
All right, yeah, you can use your action to move into the alley, and as you approach, you hear like the of an engine of some sort. And, again, you hear the laughter just kind of echo along the alley. Hard to pinpoint as it bounces around off of everything. What does Vigil do? Still,
Vigil will reach down to where the newspaper reporter was, pick up her mic, look at the cameraman. A new era is gripping the city. A new age is dawning. And in this age, my tyranny shall reign supreme! And I'm just going to roll a dice to recover some points here.
okay.
All right, 6! All right, so my intellect is going to be back up to 7.
Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, and the officer that was hit with a spiked ball, would that have been enough damage to trigger my feed off pain?
Yeah. Yeah, it would have. So I double checked, by the way. I think that can activate. That only activates once per round. So.
Oh, does it? Let me double check.
Yeah, so you can. I mean, even if multiple people get hit, you can activate it one time. But it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, so you're going to hear the resounding crack of gunfire, Vigil. Go ahead and make a speed defense roll for me. And you might have stepped away for a second.
What's up, my man?
You hear the resounding crack of gunfire once more. So you're going to need to make a speed defense roll.
Oh, shit. All right, what am I trying to beat?
It's level 3 task.
Oh, level 3. Okay. I guess I don't have my briefcase on me. I didn't take it out of the car. I don't have my shield. So, I look and I see in the lens of the camera, fucking cops taking shots, getting ready. Bah, bah, bah. So I will see if I can dodge out the way. 17!
All right, yeah, you dodge. Spin out of the way.
I just move in. It's like my close-up. You see, they're gunning for me. They can try, and you will see how they fail.
So you would turn and see, about 20 feet away or so, the one officer on the ground with a busted up leg is kind of like up on his elbow. He's got like his gun leveled at you.
I level an eyebrow like, and you see my pupils start to glow with power.
Okay. Awesome shots. You also going to need to make the same defense roll, Constrictor, as the officer who got hit in the chest is not out of action, and he's laying there also like fucked up on the ground with his pistol out, just kind of putting the iron sights and trying to rip a couple shots off.
20 on the die.
Okay. So what do you think is a reasonable effect for this?
Is the one guy's probably not remembering. How about there's a malfunction in the gun and it like blows up in his hand or does blowback, it kicks the thing back at him,
Um,
or there's some kind of malfunction that renders it useless from this point forward until it's got work done on it.
Maybe a body jumps out of the building and hits him.
I'll tell you what. You can either have the gun jam, so you have to spend a round unjamming it, or you could take your tail and grab one of the dumpsters and whip it into the way to block the fire, and otherwise it'll give you cover, so it'll give you an asset for your speed defense rolls against him.
Yeah, that would. I like that. That'd seem like something Constrictor would do. He'd use his tail to grab that dumpster and push it in the way.
All right, so
he can continue focused on his real prey.
All right, so as you grab, your tail comes out, just instinctively as you hear this gunshot and whip it into the way. The sound of steel grating on concrete, one of the wheels are busted, and almost immediately after, the thunk 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 of bullets smacking into it. And in that instant, a figure busts out of the dumpster, leaping up high behind you, surprising you for the round.
Wow!
And you hear wah as he revs up this fucking buzz axe and swings down at you, which is, since you're surprised for this round, it's going to increase the difficulty of the speed defense roll by 2 steps. So it's a level 6 defense for the purpose of the surprise attack. And so you are trained, so it would bring it down to a 5 in speed defense.
Not even close, 6.
Alright, so you feel like this white, hot, burning sensation rip across your back as he just guns this fucking thing. And, it shears through, scales and muscle, and it inflicts 5 points of damage. And then he's going to go and maneuver himself, kind of, hopping around behind you, trying to stay, in your peripherals. So then I believe it'll move to, it's actually your turn now, I believe, Constrictor.
So, yeah, as I'm facing the alley and I hear the officer begin to fire behind me, my tail snaps out, grabbing the dumpster, slamming it in the way, and I feel this at the same instant, almost as I catch the sound, I feel the thing strike my back, and it kind of throws me forward as I roar out, and I spin around, seeking the source of my pain, and if finding it, would try to attack.
Okay.
I assume that he's in view and reach at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 13.
Yep, that'll be just enough.
Okay, so seeing him, I'll just, and actually, before I actually move towards him, my tail wraps around his ankles and pulls me back, spinning and coiling around him.
All right, so if you're going to initiate the grapple this round, so as per the grapple rules, that's going to restrain him, so
right.
You can be able to attack immediately. Next round, you can begin constricting, and while he's grappled, He's got to make a might task to be able to take an action, succeed on a might task
Right.
to do something. So he's grappled and restrained for all intents and purposes right now.
Right.
All right. So yeah, you got him coiled up, and he's just kind of like bobbing his head like back and forth, almost like quizzically, energetically. Hard to tell. You can't really read this guy. He might not be all there. He might be a few eggs short. So it'll go over to Vigil now, I believe.
Are they in short distance to me?
Now, you're not going to be able to see them immediately because Constrictor pushed that dumpster into the way. And they're not with the, well...
Cool. Are they in short distance to me? Long? Medium?
It'd probably be about long. I mean, not too, like just past short from where they're located, moving back into the alley, and you're on the other side of the building, having ran people over with the car. Constrictor was on one side, then moved deeper into this alley. So just past short, really, probably about like 55 feet.
All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use something that's called Moves Like the Wind.
Okay.
And I'm going to expend 3 speed points to move a long distance and around. And yeah, and I just wanted to be able to get there to see what's going on with those guys. Because the entire idea is I want to have the camera follow me to get the combat with the vigilante on camera.
All right. I mean, you could just take the camera from the guy if you wanted and put it up on your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, if you want, you snatch the camera from this guy, and yeah, he immediately.
I grab it. The guy's like, "What are you taking my camera for? I kick him in the gut. Shut up, bitch."
Yeah, he goes and just pretty much throws himself into the van and fires it up.
Pee coming out his pants.
Yeah,
I turn on the camera. This is what you fags in the city are like. And I turn it back around. Like the air around us, like there's like drops of fire coming. It all moves in slow motion. We're moving so fast.
Yeah, he goes and just takes off.
And you see like this huge snake man holding up this guy. Unfortunately, I didn't take fleet of foot, so I can't take an attack.
Right.
I mean, I have fast legs, but is fast legs going to allow me to take an attack this turn? It's usually you can move a short distance before or after an attack.
Well, yeah. So you would, if you would move your short distance before making the attack, that would definitely put you within range to take the shot. But there would be perhaps a complication with it, since the dumpster is in the way, providing cover right now from
the dude's up to his full height, right?
Who?
Constrictor.
No, I don't think so. I think he just coiled around him, which is going to take some of his length. Regardless, Constrictor himself may be unintentionally providing cover to this guy being coiled around him. But you could still take the shot.
Yeah, I'll take the shot.
All right.
What's the level of task?
With the cover and all that, it'd be level 5.
Oh, fuck that. There's no way in hell I would take the shot. There's way too much chance I'd fucking hit Constrictor. So what I'll do is I'll fucking run up exactly to where that guy is. Like, look him in the eyes distance. And that's where in my turn the fucking camera zoomed in on his face as I'm pulling back his mask.
Well, uh, you're not going to be able to quite get that far, but you can definitely
What?
move it.
I thought you said it was a long distance.
Right. Are you moving like the wind, or are you using your fast
Yeah,
legs?
moves like the wind. I spent 3 speed points to move a long distance.
Okay, so you said something about using your fast legs there also, so I'm not sure what was happening.
Fast legs is enabler,
Okay,
but I never did take the shot, so that doesn't even come into it.
okay. Well, so you go to, move around and start fiddling, with this guy's mask. It's on there pretty fucking tight. Like, he's got, like, big leather straps, like this, like, you can see flesh bulging around them. Probably cutting off the circulation to his dome a bit. Might be why he's probably borderline crazy. And his head's like jerking around, as you're like grabbing this fucking mask, and he's just laughing maniacally the whole time.
All right, and the camera zoomed in on his face. All right.
So I'll be able to come around to his turn. So what I need you to do, Constrictor, is make a level 4 might defense task to keep him restrained.
I'll apply a level of effort.
Okay.
Eight.
All right. Just shy. So you're gonna, see him start to like kind of shake, and it looks like his shoulders almost like come out of socket. Maybe he's double jointed, and his arm comes out, and he kind of pushes himself up off of you, and like somersaults to the side, and like almost in one fluid motion brings his arm around with a big ass swing, and again you just hear wah as this buzz axe just revs up and slashes at you, Constrictor.
This guy can escape and take an attack?
Yeah, that's for all intents and purposes. He just has to succeed on the roll to take an action.
18. My
Right, yeah, that's going to be enough to evade. So he swings wide. You just see it like smash.
Oh, it's on camera.
You see it like come around and like smash into the brick wall beside you. You hear steel grating on concrete. Sparks are flying, and he kind of moves to dash a little bit away. Trying put a little bit of distance between you two. And he just kind of like hunkers down, like just kind of waving this thing back and forth, just waiting.
Now, is that a part of his hand, or is it just like a chainsaw that he's holding?
No, it's just a weapon that he has.
And it's mechanical, like gas powered. What is it?
Yeah, if you see like there, it's a big wooden haft with that large, metallic part up there, and it's got like a small engine, something maybe like a weed whacker like kind of engine or something incorporated into it.
But definitely gas powered or something like that, right?
Yeah, and there's like a lever, almost like a bike, like a motorcycle brake, like he cranks with like 2 of his fingers to gas it up, and that thing just starts cooking.
Okay, cool. Very cool.
All right, so then
All right, fucking kill this guy.
So I believe then we'll go. Well, the officer is going to try and take a shot. Can't forget about him. So you do have an
You
asset.
gotta move over there, take a shot behind the dumpster.
No, he can try to like pop some shots off, underneath, around, whatever. So you still get an asset to your speed defense from the dumpster, providing you cover. Who knows, man? Maybe ricochet or something. So you were the first target, I guess, that he kind of seen run back there, visual. So he'll just try to hit you. So are you trained in speed defense?
I am actually, but I'm actually wearing armor, so it's not going to come into account.
All right. Well, it's still going to drop down to 2 because of the dumpster being in the way.
2.
Yep.
It's just going to drop down to 2. So initially it was a 3.
Yeah, the officers are all 3.
Okay, that's fucking really powerful officers. Fucking, we got fucking RoboCops over here.
You live in a city with fucking heroes and supervillains running around. You can't
What?
just have fucking Joe Schmo eating donuts on the corner.
All right, whatever. Fucking RoboCops.
Oh, please.
All right, that's a 4. I get shot.
All right, gun does 3
What's the
points.
damage did it do?
3 is you got armor though, right? So drop it down to 2.
All right, so that's 18. Drops my mic down to 18. All right.
Nope. By this point, the ambulance has arrived, and they begin to tend the one officer with the busted leg.
Each of these rounds is like 6 seconds.
Yeah, they were already on their way. So it'll go to Constrictor.
Okay, so again, Constrictor charges towards his target as if to grapple him again, but instead he shoots around and coming back behind him, grabbing his shoulders and headbutting the back of his head.
Okay.
$17.
Nope, that's enough.
So that would be 6 points of damage.
6. How's it 6? You trained enough, right? Or
Yeah, unarmed, and plus because I'm grown, it adds +2 to
right.
my adds +2 to my damage.
Right, yeah, it does. All right. So, yeah, you grab and smash him in the back of the head, and you see like some blood kind of trickle down from between the leather straps, and he just again kind of shouts out in like laughter, good, yeah, and it'll go to Vigil.
So do you have this fucker constricted again?
No, he grabbed him and headbutted him.
All right, I'm just going to approach this guy right in his face, and I'm going to shoot him right in the face with lasers coming out of my eyes.
Okay.
I will have an asset on this because I have something that's called Opportunist. When another person is taking an attack this round, so that will lower the difficulty to hit this guy.
Right, so it'll be a 3.
What's the number?
3 now.
3. Okay. All right. Cool. Here we go. 9. Exactly enough.
Yep, that's just enough.
Woo!
All right.
So you see like a explosion come out of my eyes, and I'm like just fucking inches away from his face as these lasers bore right into his fucking eyes. This is on camera.
Okay.
So 5 points of damage.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay.
And then I'm gonna move away. Short distance.
But maintaining the close-up.
Yeah, as I move away, the camera just stays in the zoom.
Okay.
Like a Hitchcock effect.
All right. So we'll go back to the top.
And there I am, right behind the dumpster.
The other officer with the cracked sternum has managed to get to his feet and kind of stumble, forward, positioning himself like kind of on the side of the dumpster. Grognar is going to turn around with like a backhand slash once more. This thing is revving, and trying to come down, shear through your clavicle, Constrictor.
I'm gonna apply effort. Oof. So 5 with speed defense and 1 level of effort.
It's one shy. You need a 6. So again, you just this white hot searing pain. Steel kind of grating off of scales and bones as a pretty nasty slash appears from your clavicle down your chest a bit, blood spraying in its wake as this blade whips around and deals 5 more points of damage to you.
Yeah, just to let you know, I've been taking into account, but when I'm grown, I do have 1 armor now from natural armor.
You have 1 armor now?
Yeah, for when I grow, that's part of when I enlarge.
Okay. And then with that, he's going to move, skirt around, with the momentum of the swing, kind of reposition himself once more, to get behind you so you guys aren't flanking him. Then it'll go back to the top, which would be Constrictor.
Okay, so this time, having struck and drawn blood, I'm going to go for the grapple again. $20 on the die.
All right, so yeah, what do you think would be a reasonable major effect? If you're talking, you are muted, by the way, Dennis.
Yeah, I'm trying to think here. I think there's one. Trying to think what would be a good one. I've got him. I mean, is there anything that would give him a negative?
Can you dislocate his leg?
Yeah, something dislocate a part of his body that will give him a negative on his next attempt to break free.
Let's see here. You could potentially knock him down. You could potentially disarm him.
Can you daze him?
Disarming would be good. I think I like that.
Okay.
Since he's got me several good times with that thing.
All right. So yeah, if you want to, lunge in and coil around him, and as the coils are happening, kind of lash out at his hand, and rip that buzz axe away. Sparks clattering, along the ground as the blade slowly spins, comes to a stop.
Excellent.
All right, absolutely. So back to Vigil.
Vigil will come over with the camera, and he's going to prop it up on this dumpster. If it has a lid, I can prop it onto, or he can capture us.
Yep.
And I will move over, grab the man's weapon, and then peel his body open with it.
You can certainly try.
Awesome. So what's the number I need to beat here?
It's a 4. He's a difficulty 4.
He's a 4. Okay. Is he restrained right now?
He is, so you can...
Would that drop it down a level?
Yeah, I'll let you have an asset to the attack roll since he's restrained.
Alright, do you double assets because I have Opportunist?
Now, Opportunist, does it specify, I believe, that it has to be an attack, right?
Mm-hmm. Is a grapple an attack?
Not necessarily an attack. It's like restraining
So
something.
you're not interpreting a grapple as an attack. Okay. So we're trying to be a 9 here.
Yep.
Okay. Here we go. 15.
All right. So
Bitch. You see his head shaking.
let's see here. He's taking.
What does that do? 5 points of damage?
Yeah. Now here's the question. Do you think to hit the handle to give it gas? Would that occur to you?
No, I don't think it would because this is my first time operating it.
Okay. So for that purpose, then it would do 4 damage. Actually, I messed up, misinterpreted the damage that it should do. It should have been doing 6. When you hit the fucking handle, it's treated as a heavy weapon. But yeah, so it'll do 4 points of damage, just bringing that saw blade around and slashing it into him. So, it cuts deep. You can see muscle, sinew, some bone from his clavicle, and he's bleeding pretty bad.
All right, and then I will pull back, walking away, looking at the camera. Yeah, as I move back over to it.
All right. Yeah, he's definitely beat up. Not quite down, but he's not looking good at all. Yeah.
And I still have his weapon, right? So he's fucking totally disarmed.
Yeah, you still have his weapon.
And as I walk back to the camera, I look at it. This is what happens to the heroes of this city.
Okay. So that'll go back to the top. So the officer who is on the dumpster, he's seeing all this going on. His breathing is labored. He coughs and blood's coming out, over his lip. And, he kind of looks and sees the state in which Grognar is in, and notices, you constantly, referencing this camera, and he's going to bring his gun up and just start popping around into this camera and destroy it, not wanting, this potentially gruesome image to get out and cause despair. And
we're live broadcasting, are we not?
Yeah, he's stopping it, is what he's doing.
He can try.
No, he is. The camera's right there. He's going to bring his gun around and just start shooting into the camera and destroy it. And that's his action, the police officer. Grognar is going to try to escape. So go ahead and make a might roll.
Okay, I'm going to apply a level of effort as well.
I believe you can. It's like it's an opportunity thing. I'll go ahead and do it for now, since I'm not 100% sure on the opportunity.
Okay. So 9?
Yeah, that would end up being just enough then to keep him there, as he's kind of struggling against you.
Well played.
And that'll pretty well be what he's going to do then.
Oh, he can't get out, Grognar.
You can feel.
If the snake has the frog.
You can feel Constrictor, just this wet, warm liquid,
That's his
slowly
pee-pee.
dripping down, covering your scales, as blood oozes from the wound in his shoulder. And it is your turn.
So yeah, I'm just going to
Starting to eat him.
basically loom down in his face as I cinch my coils as tight as I can around him. Which, being enlarged, would be for 9 points.
Yeah, so again, you hear the very distinct and, to you, just natural sound of bones cracking, and you feel like his ribs give out and just go in, and he begins to cough. And, as his ribs pierce his lungs and blood just kind of falls down under his mask, and he gives like one more like and then snap, and his spine breaks and his head just kind of walls and goes in.
I give a hiss in satisfaction as I'm still holding him like right in his face as the light goes out of his eyes, healing some of my wounds as I tighten even further and I spin around my eyes and the image of the camera turning on the cop as he's leaning against the dumpster.
Yeah, constricto vision. So it'll go to Vigil. Constrictor has finally finished off Grognard.
All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shoot this cop right in the eyes, and I'm gonna take his clothes and dress up like him and fucking walk out of here.
All right, you can try.
All right, I do it.
All right, go ahead and make an attack roll and see if you shoot this cop.
All right.
Now, you would, definitely hear, at this point, with everything that's been going on off in the distance, some more sirens.
Oh, yeah, so I definitely want to dress up like the cop. I get it.
Yeah.
Since he's been shot, or has he been shot, or has he just been hurt?
He had like a large spike ball whip into his chest, so like his shirt is bloody, as from the spikes having pierced his flesh and kind of torn from the spikes penetrating the cloth.
Well, no, I'm not going to shoot him with lasers. I'm just going to fucking hit him with this chainsaw thing to the face.
Okay.
And spend a level of effort to do that.
Sure.
To drop that down to a 2.
Sure.
All right, here we go. 9 on the die. So.
Yeah. That'll hit. Yeah, so we'll say you kind of, having had it in your hand for a minute, you maybe, hearing it.
I've held a weed whacker before, and I was like, oh, this is eerily familiar.
Yeah, so like you decide to like pull the handle and like give this thing some gas, as
So on this disc, on this blade of the disc, it's kind of polished, and you see the cop's face, and his jaw opens up, and it turns, blurs his face, and then it gets a little bit closer to him, and you see his eyes cross as the blade moves closer. The next is just a red splash.
Yeah, so it pretty well sheared straight into half of his head, just straight down the fucking middle. And yeah, he is about as dead can be at this point.
I let that drop as I loosen my tie, as I start the montage of changing clothes with him.
Okay.
Just a quick question. I mean, theoretically, couldn't he like use his X-ray vision to, if he's close enough, and like target someone's heart with his vision without like destroying outside, or would that still like destroy all the flesh and stuff?
Doing something like that's it's a pretty like advanced maneuver for energy projection, so he probably doesn't have that kind of finesse over it quite yet.
Okay.
That's level 2, Dennis.
Yeah. Notes for next time.
We'll put that underneath Super Soaker.
Okay. So yeah, you go ahead and change clothes with this officer. his outfit is covered in blood, you know, considering he just had like half his head sheared open, this thing thrown into his chest. It doesn't.
It's dark blue, so it just all blends in.
Yeah, it's still noticeable. Like it's covered. Like,
hey, get a ride in an ambulance.
Oh.
So combat's over. You know, again, you hear the sirens. The fire is.
By the way, the cops dressed up in my clothes very haphazardly.
Yeah, pretty much all the officers are dead. The firefighters are putting out the fire. You see a couple of them like have axes in their hands, like, and they're kind of, you know, standing defensively as this escapade that has taken place in the alley was not exactly stealthy, and you know, a couple of them are kind of like eyeing you. The ambulance is like looking to check out and assist, and you know, again, it's the sound of sirens heading your way. So
what? Are you telling me that there's firemen no longer fighting the fire, but waiting at the end of the alley with axes?
No. They're by their trucks. A couple of them have taken axes, having, you know, heard wah and fucking.
But there's a raging fire.
Yeah.
They're not fighting it anymore?
Yeah, most of them are. A couple of them have thought it would be a pretty keen idea to possibly defend themselves from a potential assault. So
well, I'm not going after the firemen. We're going for escape down the sewer in this alley.
Okay.
Yeah, I basically will head for the sewer with my prize.
All right, so you guys slink off into the sewers. So we see Constrictor, Grognar in his coils, sliding down, his tail kind of flickering for a minute. Vigil, now dressed in blues, climbing down.
What was the officer's name?
Farva.
What the fuck? I'm glad I killed this motherfucker. Can't pronounce his name.
Did you get his wallet? I want to see his license.
Here's his kids.
Excellent.
So you guys, you know, head down to the alley and the sewers, and you know, the camera drops low, and we see like the wooden handle and the blood-soaked blade slowly spinning, coming to a stop, and then the manhole cover kind of clanks shut, and blood just drips for a minute, and then we fast forward, and you two are back at the hideout. Constrictor, you've likely, I don't know, do you have Grognar with you? Perhaps deposited him?
Yeah, I would have, well, at the very least, I'll deposit him at the bottom of the sewer. Well, no, I probably would have stashed the old man already, so yeah, I'll drop him off first and then meet up with him.
You would see like that old bone look familiar to you for a second, Vigil, that you shot in the forehead with lasers. You know, as you guys climb out of the sewer and get into the hideout, and you guys go back, sit down on the couch, and you flip on the TV and you see, you know, Channel 7 News. This roaring blaze, police officers show up, and it's already been kind of chopped and edited a little bit with what time they had, and like this, you see like this Lexus come whipping around, smacking, you know, into the news reporter, and like before it gets too gruesome, like it instantly like cuts away, and like shows like your face on the camera zoomed in. You know,
I have like the little mask.
yeah, the Lone Ranger mask. Then like it clips over again and shows, you know, in the alleyway, you know, Grognar fighting, you know, trading blows with you, and then, you know, it shows him, you know, get slashed in the back and, you know, wrapped up in these coils, and then suddenly like there's just the black and gray fuzz as the camera goes blank, you know, as the cop had shot it, and you know, the news reporter is talking about this attack that happened. These two villains assaulted officers, killed some. You know, the apartment complex was set on fire, likely by them. Some of the tenants are hospitalized, you know, from smoke inhalation. Some have severe burns. The whereabouts.
What's the body count?
We'll say, as far as like the tenants in the hospital, there's probably about a dozen of them. 6 officers dead. And Grognar, who arrived on the scene to provide aid, is currently missing in action. We can only hope that he is in pursuit of these villains and will bring them to justice shortly. And you know, you kind of click off the TV, and you see that little white beam, smiles beaming on both of your faces, and we fade to black. All right, that is it. That is it for tonight's villain game, gentlemen.
Wow.
So
hopefully we got the attention of this criminal organization this time.
Well, you can certainly tune in next week and find out. So I believe that'll be all for tonight. Like I said, I hope you guys had fun. I had a lot of fun running this. It was great seeing what you guys came up with. I hope everybody watching enjoyed it. So it's been Bruce Wayne. Be signing out from Gotham for tonight. Check me out on the YouTube, Gaming in Gotham at YouTube. Check out my WordPress, gamingingotham.wordpress.com. And then I will hand it over to these fine gentlemen. Let them plug what they got to plug, say what they got to say. We'll start with Constrictor.
Yeah, it was a great game. Dennis, I play Constrictor. Nothing really to plug other than OSG and WW3.
All right, and we'll hand it over to Mr. Posey.
Hi, my name is Philip Posey. I'm on the channel Maps and Dragons, and today I played a character named Vigil, who is kind of a camera hog. Anyway, I had a great time tonight. It was my first time playing the Cypher system, and I feel like has it been a week already? It's been too long. Definitely love this system, and you guys should definitely come and play with us over here at the W3. Have a great night, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Absolutely. Check out his channel, and go to the RPG W3 where we shoot from the hip. Play some games. Check out the Tabletop One-Shot group where tons of games also happen over there. And that'll be it for tonight, folks.